Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. Our employer webinar today, it's called Listen, Learn, Act Commute Programs for San Mateo County Employers. So I am Carmen Chen. I'm a TDM Programs Manager with Commute.org. I engage with employer outreach and also oversee the countywide TDM policy monitoring program. So very excited to kick off our webinar today. We do have a pretty packed agenda, so while we wait for some more attendees to trickle in, I'll go over some housekeeping items. So the first thing is that we are encouraging you to submit questions that you have throughout the webinar using the Q&A feature. So you can access that in Teams on that upper ribbon up top. We have disabled audio and chat for the reason just because we want to encourage all questions to come in via Q&A. So when you submit your question, someone from our team will review it, and then either we will answer it directly via chat or we can answer it towards the end of the webinar during our Q&A session. Lastly, I also wanted to note that this webinar is being recorded, so we will share the recording as well as slides and a feedback survey post-webinar. All right, so this is our packed agenda. We have a really exciting lineup of sessions focused on sustainable commuting. So we're starting off with opening remarks, and then we'll have 5 different sessions. So each of these sessions are 20 minutes long. They're really meant to be quick. It's really meant to be informative. If time allows, at the end of each session, we'll probably take 1 or 2 questions. Otherwise, if we don't have enough time, we do want to stick to that agenda. We will take any unanswered questions at the end of the webinar starting at 2:45. So if you do need to drop off or anything, you can feel free to watch the webinar recording after we send it out, or you can send your questions to us at employersupport@commute.org. Okay, so before we get started, we just wanted to put out a quick poll in order for us to better understand who we are talking to today. So this first question is pretty simple. It's asking you how many employees work at your company. And you should be able to see a poll pop up right now where you can indicate your response. So I'll pause here for like 20 seconds while I wait for people to reply. Okay, so it looks like we're getting a pretty good mix. Some smaller employers as well as mid to large size. So the good news is that this webinar, it's pretty versatile just because each of the sessions were created and formatted in a way that would be relevant to all companies regardless of how many employees you have. So make sure to stay tuned throughout the webinar. And in the interest of time, I'll turn it over to John Ford. He is our executive director at Commute.org and has held that role since 2012. He is responsible for overseeing all the operations of our agency. John?
Thank you, Carmen, and good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to today's webinar. We're thrilled to have you all here as we uncover the pivotal role that employers and property managers and developers can play in shaping transportation choices and fostering sustainable commuting habits. Throughout the webinar, we're going to delve into innovative strategies aimed at empowering organizations in San Mateo County to be our champions for TDM initiatives, help us to reduce congestion and enhance the quality of life for employees, tenants, and all the residents in San Mateo County. In looking through the registration list, it was great. I saw a lot of familiar names, but I was really excited to see a lot of new names and a lot of companies that we haven't worked with in the past. So regardless if you're a longtime participant in Commute.org programs or if this is your first time attending one of our events, we promise that today's program will be valuable to you, your organization, and your constituency, the people that you work with, whether they're employees or tenants and the like. So before we get started on our first topic, I want to take just a minute to introduce you to Commute.org and our role in San Mateo County. So on the slide that you see, We are San Mateo County's Transportation Demand Management Agency. We'll be talking a lot about TDM as we go forward, but that is our sole purpose. We are a dedicated autonomous organization that works just on that. Our focus is to reduce the number of vehicle miles traveled and reduce single occupant vehicle trips throughout San Mateo County. To some people's surprise, we are actually a government agency. We are a joint powers authority. We have 20 different members. That's 19 different cities in the county, plus the county of San Mateo itself. Our board of directors is actually comprised of a representative from each of those cities, the mayors or the city council members, or a representative from the board of supervisors as well. We receive funding from a lot of different sources, but our primary funding partners are CCAG, the San Mateo County Transportation Authority, the Air District, and then a lot of funding for our shuttle program, which we'll talk about later, comes from private sector employers and property managers. You probably know us again by our name and our website, the Commute.org, but we also, as you'll learn about later, have another website called my.commute.org. Next slide. So before we get started into the actual presentation, it's probably getting everybody on the same page with some of the acronyms that you're going to be hearing about. For us, this is TDM. The graphic on the top or the text on the bottom will help explain what it is that we're trying to do. But basically, we're trying to reduce the number of vehicle trips and vehicle miles traveled in the county by encouraging people to work from home, ride their bikes, walk, carpool, vanpool, use public transit, all the kinds of things that we would consider sustainable commute modes. And again, we're not looking for people to make these commitments to full-time, even if it's partial commuting in these manners. In that manner, it's useful to us. It's useful to the purpose that we're all trying to achieve here. So, with that setting, let's dive in and discover how organizations like yours can drive positive change in San Mateo County through innovative TDM programs and services. Carmen?
Thanks, John. So that's a good segue because a lot of the cities, as well as regional agencies in the area, do require employers to commit to TDM. And the way they do this is by having some type of regulation or policy in place where they either require employers to provide commute benefits to their employees, and or they also require them to complete an employee commute survey as a way to better understand how employees get to work. So in this next session, I'm very excited to introduce our next two speakers who will cover the essentials of how you can stay compliant with these regulations. First up, we have Corey Dodge. He is a senior program manager at the Metropolitan Transportation Commission. He has a huge spanning background in transportation, but he currently spends his time between the 511 program as well as the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program, which he will be talking on. And then we have Karen Sumner. She has over 20 years of experience in TDM. She is the leadership and team manager at TDM Specialist, and she was actually also a previous Commute.org employee where she excelled in commuter program management. So Corey, take it away.
Appreciate it, Carmen. I also want to take some time to introduce Tracy Keogh, who is part of the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program team. She's going to be joining me today to discuss the program. So got a bunch to cover. I'm going to kind of go into it, and we'll have some time afterwards, hopefully, to get some Q&A, or I'll catch the Q&A at the end if you have any questions. Established in March 2014, Air District Regulation 14 Rule 1, known as the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program, it's a partnership between MTC and the Air District. MTC is really responsible for the registration portal, interfacing with employers. Air District is solely responsible for enforcement and compliance. The program was developed to improve air quality, reduce emissions of greenhouse gases, reduce traffic congestion, all of which contribute to our quality of life and sustainability in the region. Next slide, please. Thank you. Employers with 50 or more full-time employees in the Bay Area are mandated to enroll in the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program and update their registration annually. For the sake of this discussion, full-time employees are defined as those who work 30+ hours per week. The coverage falls within the Air District regulatory region, which includes all 9 counties of the Bay Area and the southernmost portions of Solano and Sonoma counties. It's I think one thing I want to point out is there's a common mistake we see with some employers sometimes. They have a commute program. They're offering things to their employers, but they're not registered with the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program. We think it's great that this proactive step has been taken, that people are having access to benefits, but to avoid penalties, to be in compliance, employers need to be enrolled with the official Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program. Registration is relatively easy, as I'm going to mention a couple times here. You can register by going to 511.org or 511.org/commuter benefits program. Another thing I want to point out is if you work with a benefit broker, I wouldn't recommend assuming that your benefit broker just has everything covered. Many brokers are not aware of the program, therefore not always providing complete counsel to their clients. So we want you to check with us, make sure you're registered, and we'll be good to go. And enrollment, it's easy, it's free, it takes only about 15 minutes, and we have live people standing by which can hold your hand and walk you through the process. So just as I mentioned previously, registration, relatively quick. A couple things to help you get going on registration and tips we'd like to give people to, make registration as seamless as possible is the first one is knowing which of the 5 Bay Area commuter benefit options you already offer or plan to offer your employees. I'm going to cover those on the next slide, but that's an important detail to have off the bat. The next thing we're going to need to know is the total number of full-time and covered employees. We're also going to need contacts for the designated registered commuter benefits coordinator. Now, this is typically HR or admin personnel who's going to be tasked with filling in the information in our registration portal, performing the annual updates, logging in and kind of adding the information. We're also going to need a backup for this, just in case we can't get a hold of someone leaves the organization. We want to be able to reach out and check in on registration or make sure see if they need help with the process. Another necessary piece is the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program ID. Now, this isn't your tax ID number. This is a unique ID we provide to each employer, so they can log into our system and we have some of their information already available and they can, take a look, make sure it looks good. It helps streamline the process. We send this out via physical mail and email when we think you're required to register with the program. If you don't have it, if you lost it, don't worry. There's some numbers on the left there. You can give us a call. You can shoot us an email. We can get you your number and we can help you get registered. The next thing we're going to need to know is, can you go back? Thank you. We're just going to need to know how you will notify your employees of the benefit you're offering. Are you going to be sending out an email? Is it going to be some sort of internal systems notification? A most common one is probably during the new hire onboarding process. So employees just need to know that they have access to a benefit, and you need to tell us how you let these employees know. Final tip for this slide is this process is requiring annual updates. So the annual updates, very easy, much easier than the initial registration. The basic thing you're telling us is what changed from this year to the last. Have you changed your commuter benefit option? Have you got more employees? We just need to know. It's done on a yearly basis. So you finish the webinar today, you sign up a year from now in 2025 and May 23rd, you're going to have to sign up once again and update your annual registration. Next slide, please. Right here, we're going to be going over some of our program options, actually all of our program options. Option 1, by far and wide the most common, this is the pre-tax benefit. It allows employees to exclude their transit or van pool costs from taxable income to the maximum amount as allowed by federal law. Currently, that's $315 per month. Option 2 is an employer-provided monthly subsidy of up to $75 to cover van pool fare or transit costs. Option 3 is an employer-provided free or low-cost bus, shuttle, or van pool service operated by or for the employer. Option 4 is an alternative employer-provided commuter benefit that is just as effective as option 1 through 3. Now, this is an area where you can pick and choose kind of what you have. You can come up with your own creative option. You say, hey, we already have something working for us. You submit it to us. We take a look. We pass it by the air district, and then we help you work to, make that compliant for your organization. And then option 5, this was our newest benefit, created probably 2 years ago in the midst of the COVID pandemic, a company-wide telework policy that allows telework 1 or more days per week for all employees whose assignments can be performed remotely. And once again, if you have any questions on these options, you're not sure what's going to work best for you, you can reach out to our employer team to kind of help you walk you through the process. So yeah, I just want to say the numbers on the screen right here. As I mentioned, we have a really good group of people working for us who answer the phone and answer the calls. Anything from am I compliant to am I registered? Do we need to be registered? What option do I choose? I don't know what to do. You just give us a call, you give us a ring, you're going to speak with a live person. The turnaround time is relatively quickly. It's a day or two. So yeah, we're here for you. We really want to get employers covered here and let everyone have access to as many benefits as possible. So I appreciate the time today, and I'm going to be here for any other questions.
Great. And next up, we have Karen Sumner.
Just testing, making sure you guys can hear me okay.
You're good.
Thanks, guys. So as Carmen mentioned, I'm Karen Sumner with TDM Specialists. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about and give you a little bit of insight about the commuter surveys. Thank you so much, Carmen, for that awesome introduction. Just a quick, who am I? Again, I'm Karen Sumner. My official, I guess, title with TDM Specialists is Team Manager / NorCal Commute Programs Manager. With TDM Specialist, our mission statement is there for your viewing. But basically, the long and short of it is we're a boutique agency that focuses on being a one-stop shop type of resource for our various clients throughout the Bay Area and the Sacramento region. Our company wears many hats, from dealing with developers and assisting with TDM plans to commuter concierge services, which I'm going to focus a little bit more on today, which will bring us back to the surveys. So what is a commuter concierge? So if you think about a hotel concierge, when you're traveling, that concierge is somebody that you would go to for information about all things that location. What's the best restaurant? What's the next showtime? What's the best things to do out here? So that is essentially what a commuter concierge is for commuters. So essentially we are a resource for our clients, and our clients range from commercial developments to residential and or retail, and sometimes they're mixed use types of properties. And so our clients are typically, we work with property managers, and then depending on the site, we're working with either those tenants and their employees or residents, if it has to be a residential site. And some of the things that we do at these sites is we can assist with one-on-one trip planning. We do a lot of one-on-one kind of interactions with our residents and employees at the various sites. On some sites, we manage the bike locker and cage access. Some we do manage their transit subsidy programs. But pretty much for all of our sites, we manage the commuter survey process. So that leads us into the commuter survey. So why survey? Commute surveys can essentially help identify what types of modes those commuters are using and how many of each of those modes they're using, how often they're using them. And that includes drive alone. So it includes everything other than every type of mode. It can also help employers or property managers identify the program's success and or if there's a need for improvement in those programs. And then what we're talking about today, which is jurisdictional requirements. So to kind of give you an example of that, part of my portfolio is the city of South San Francisco and properties within the city. And the city of South San Francisco has a TDM ordinance where they require a number of projects to achieve a certain threshold, and they're calling that their alternative transportation mode use rate. So for example, if a project has, say, a 40% alternative transportation mode use rate, it's a mouthful, and there's no acronym for it, it means that 40% of the people that are going to that site should be utilizing some alternative commute mode. So that means biking, walking, everything that John mentioned earlier, including telework. So I'm going to go into the next couple slides are going to be kind of best practices and engagement strategies for surveys. So I think the main thing is to build relationships. So what we try to do is we create a team. So if you're working with, say, property management, you want to know who the team is of property management. You want to know who are the people that are on the ground, walking around, their security, their operations, their facilities. And then to kind of delve a little bit deeper, you're talking to the employer. You want to know who within that team, that employer site is, like, say, human resources, who has their hands on the employees and can actually talk to those people. And then of course the commuters, if you're working with residential commuters, are obviously the end user. You want to get to them. So you basically want to create awareness and create an existence among these people. So you want to be a resource for them. A huge part of that is leveraging existing resources. And I know that's going to be touched on in a later session. But you want to be able to use the programs that are available. Why recreate the wheel? In my area, as I mentioned, my portfolio is the city of South San Francisco as well as Brisbane. So Commute.org is my friend. I use their resources for everything in my area. And of course, continue to use 511 VTA, the best workplaces for commuters, ACT, the Bay Area Commuter Benefits Program, as Corey mentioned. So there's just making sure that you're using whatever local resources there are. So initial steps in creating your surveys. When you create your surveys, it's very important to keep it short and easy to understand. You don't want to lose people's interests by creating something that is 20 pages long. They're not going to fill it out. Believe me, they're not going to fill it out. And then keeping it short, if you do need to translate the survey, just depend on what your commuter base is like. Having it short is going to make it easier to translate. So for example, we have a project in the Palo Alto area. It happens to be a retail site where there are primarily Spanish and Mandarin speaking commuters. So we make sure that we translate the surveys into the various languages that are needed for that location so that everybody feels included and they can all participate and join in the survey. At that same time, we're creating template messaging and then follow-up messaging to share with the property managers, the employers, and the commuters. And then at the same time, we're creating marketing materials, posters, postcards, social media posts. Canva is our friend. Canva has great free program to use and a lot of great free templates to use. And then we use links or QR codes, any way to get people to actually access your survey. Okay, so prior to the survey launch, you want to talk to your property managers and your employer contacts because they're going to know things that you might not know. We always ask how many employees there are, in particular to an employer site, how many employees are assigned to that site. Post-COVID, we know that a lot of people telework, some people are teleworking indefinitely, and some people solely telework. So we want to know though if those employees are still assigned to that site because they can still complete that survey because we want that data. We want to know what those people are doing. And then what other information does the employer or property manager know that you don't? So if they might know what the telework numbers are, they might know how many employees are taking advantage of their pre-tax benefits or commuter benefits. We also want to know if they have like a badge in or badge out system to kind of give us an idea of how many employees are on site at any given day. And then also, I think one of the important things is finding out what are the best strategies to promote the survey to the commuters. And Corey kind of touched on this a little bit. It's like, do they have an intranet site? Do they have a general area where they can put posters up, TV screens? Is being in person more effective, or a commuter presentation like this more effective? And so you just want to know what those things are to be able to touch those employees or commuters. So promoting the survey. A week before the survey launch, what we usually do is we put out a teaser, like a survey coming soon. We might reference whatever prizes are associated with that survey. And that typically goes out to like the residents or the employees with the assistance of the property manager and or the employer. The day of the survey or even the night before, we usually send another message with the survey link so that it's a live link that people can go ahead and participate in the survey very quickly. We also ask the employer and or property manager to brand the survey as their own, because I don't know about you, but as an employee, I may be more inclined to open an email from my employer than I am to open an email from the commuter concierge. So this kind of just gives us a way to kind of touch bases on more ways than one. And the messaging obviously can be staggered. So maybe I, as the commuter concierge, send the message out the night before, and then maybe midday the next day, the employer sends out their messaging. And then again, the reason why we ask how is it best to communicate with your employees is because we want them to promote it. So we ask the employer to post things in common areas on their intranet. We may ask property management or employers to post things in their elevators just to get the word out. And then during the survey, monitor the survey. Know what your response rates are, just depending on the duration of your survey. Our surveys, we typically go 1 to 2 weeks, but I know of other surveys that go a month at a time. Just monitor your survey, get to know what your response rates are, and that's going to give you a sense of if there's any sort of need to promote additional or do some additional marketing to encourage more responses. This is also the time that you want to set up your tabling and or presentation, either on site or virtually, to encourage more responses. Maybe you set up a table in a common area and you've got some tablets out there or QR codes that people can scan. And then you want to make it fun. I talked a little bit about prizes. So you want to try to include prizes if your budget allows for it. And then maybe make it a competition between your employees or between your neighboring sites or neighboring employers. And then after the survey closes, you want to calculate results, obviously. You want to assess your results, and then you want to create a report just based on what is required of you. So if there is that jurisdictional requirement that we talked about, you want to make sure that your report is formatted to submit to the city as per whatever the requirements are. Typically in our case, property management gets a similar report. And then also in our case, we can delve down into what each individual employer commuters have said. So we can create a report just based on individual employees. And then pick your winners and announce them, because it makes it real. It makes my cube mate know that I won something, but they didn't fill out the survey. So next time they're going to fill out the survey. So it's very important to make sure you announce it and distribute prizes. So in conclusion, there's these 4 things that I want you to take away from this. It's obviously build relationships. It's so important that I put it up there 3 times. KISS, keep it short and simple. Keep your survey short and easy to understand so that people want to fill them out. Make it fun, do those competitions, do those prizes, and then understand your data. This is going to help people improve their projects or their programs, and be able to report on successes in their programs. So that concludes my presentation. My contact information is there. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Okay, so jumping directly into our second session. So here we will cover how you can maximize your current employee benefits by also leveraging free offerings that we give to employers at Commute.org. So we have 2 speakers for this specific topic. First is Kim Comstock. She is our Deputy Director, and she has over 17 years of experience in TDM. She collaborates with commuters, all our employers, as well as partners, in order to develop and implement effective transportation solutions. When she's not working, she also enjoys hiking with her family. And then we also are joined by Matt Petrovsky. He is the sustainability specialist for the County of San Mateo's Sustainability Department. So he is actually a really great example of what an employer can do to fully leverage the programs that we offer at Commute.org. In his role, he has successfully run programs related to waste and recycling, fleet transition planning, as well as employee commutes. And he's an avid biker, mediocre basketball player, and in desperate need of an updated headshot. Okay, Kim.
Thank you, Carmen. So yes, I'm looking forward to telling you all about our programs and how you can use them for you, yourself, your employees, and your business. Go ahead, Carmen. So there's lots of things that we do, but first of all, the main thing you should know is that we're here for you. We will answer your emails, your calls. We'll have in-depth meetings in person if you want to meet virtually as well. Whatever works for you, we're here to help you with whatever dilemma you have related to commuting and transportation at your workplace, or whatever you hear today, even if it's from somebody else. You can always reach out to us to get any clarity or some advice. If we can't help you, we'll find you somebody that can. So I wanted you to know that this is all these things that we're talking about today are free for you to take advantage of. The other program that's pretty massive that we run is our shuttle program, and John Ford will talk about that later, so I won't go into too much depth, but it's basically connecting our commuters to the local transit hubs along the Bayside in San Mateo County. The one huge thing that we do for the county, which means something to your employees, is that we have the countywide ride matching database. So if you have employees that are looking for carpool partners, van pool partners, or even bicycle partners to travel together with, we have a publicly facing ride matching database that they can take advantage of. Next up is our bicycle education program. So at your workplace, we will do for free a 1-hour bicycle safety workshop. And it could be virtual or on site. But the great part about this is that it's personalized to your employees. So we have the general education that will be conducted by a league certified instructor. However, whoever does attend gets to ask these experts questions: how to get over an overpass, how to ride in traffic, how to make turns, this, that, So it's a great resource, and I encourage you to book one with us. Events. Our staff loves to go out for outreach events. So we will table, give a lot of giveaways, talk about all our commuter programs, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and directly talking to your commuters and your employees about what can they do, as well as meetings. So if you have staff meetings, you have anything that you would like where you have a special guest, we love to be the special guest. The next thing is Star Network. Now, Star Network is basically our Star is our commuter platform where commuters come to track their trips, get rewards, find out their impact of their personal commute. But we have something for you when it comes to this. Next slide, Carmen. So for this Star Network, there's an offering that we have for you as an organization. So if you would like a personalized network in the Star platform, it has great advantages to you and your employees. First up, if you do that, your employees can now find fellow coworkers to do all of those sharing the rides, whether it's carpool, vanpooling, or bicycling together. They can say, I would like to be matched just with my fellow employees, which is really a great benefit. If you wanted to run your own personal incentives through the platform, then you get to have that promoted directly to your employees, and you can track your impact. But overall, Star is available to everybody. So if this is too much for you, don't worry, just send your employees to us. We will take care of them. Our platform basically has all of our programs and services loaded into them so they can take advantage of it. But the moment you say you'd like a personalized network, you get a unique URL, you use that to push it out to your employees. And then if you want manager access, then you can get access to the tracking the impact as well as reports. So there's a lot available there. On our website, we have a full guide that shows you all the programs that are available for you as an employer. But I mentioned that commuter programs that are in that Star network or in the Star platform, we have lots of things to support your commuters and your employees. So if you send them directly to us, they're going to see all this. So if they're carpoolers, vanpoolers, or bicyclists, and if they log their trips in Star, for every 10 days that they log their trip, they can unlock a $25 e-gift card. They can do that 4 times a year with a cap of $100. If they would like to try transit and they're not trying transit, we have a program where we'll give 3 free days on Samtrans, Caltrain, or the San Francisco Bay Ferry. All they have to do is ask and let us know that they want this. This is a great opportunity for like new hire packets or people that have relocated before they start driving alone. Get them to try out the transit before they commit to just driving alone to work. To support all modes that are using a commute alternative to driving alone to work, we have our Guaranteed Ride Home program. So for folks that are worried about not having their car with them at their workplace, and in case there's an emergency at home, this is the program for them. So basically, Commute.org will financially cover 4 trips a year, up to $60 per trip, and in case an emergency comes up. It could be the carpool partner left them and they're stranded, bicycle broke down. It could be a home emergency, elder care emergency, whatever it might be. We have that program there to help with that peace of mind for that commuter. And then challenges and promotions. We're running something all the time. You can put the next slide up. So we're doing something all year round. We want to engage with commuters because we want to support them. We want to encourage them to stick with what they're doing, if it's a commute alternative, or encourage them to try other alternatives, whatever might work for them. So all year round, we have something going on. For the month of May, we just celebrated Bike to Work Day last week, and now we're into our Commuter Challenge. So our Commuter Challenge, which all of you are welcome to participate, it's open till May 31st. And our Commuter Challenge has been running since April 1st, ends May 31st. And this year, we're asking our commuters to pledge to use a commute alternative to work, or even remote work. Whichever they do, if they pledge, they're in a running to win one of 5 $250 e-gift cards. And throughout these 2 months, we've been collecting reasons why people are pledging to do this. And it's really great and inspirational to hear why people want to use a commute alternative. They want to be a part of contributing to clean air, doing small steps to make a big impact on their environment. They want to be better than they were. So lots of inspirational stuff. And I encourage you to participate. It ends next Friday, and you can still have a chance to for yourself or sending it down to your employees. So thank you very much for listening to my part. I look forward to passing it over to Matt.
Everybody, my name is Matt. I work for the County of San Mateo. I run our commuter benefits programs. I'm here to chat mostly about how we utilize Commute.org's offerings to make our programs better. So we have a suite of programs available for our employees. Our 2 main programs are called Commute Cash and the Transit Subsidy. The Commute Cash program, we pay our employees a cash incentive of $2 a day for those who carpool, bike, or walk to work. And then for the transit subsidy, we offer $150 a month for folks to take transit or use a bike or a scooter share or to ride a van pool to work. For the transit subsidy, we don't use the Commute.org services a ton, but for Commute Cash, we rely on them very heavily. And they're free and great and a wonderful set of resources. So I'm so happy to be here to help promote them as well. So next slide. So the first thing that we do for the most part is we push people towards their free ride matching tool. This is that carpool matching program through the STAR network that Kim was speaking of. Basically, employees go in here and they put in their start and end times, what days they want to go to and from work, and how they'd like to get there. And it puts them into a network. And that network can be for employees only of the County of San Mateo or members of the public. We know some folks only like to travel with their coworkers. Some folks are a little bit more open. But this is a huge resource for us. Doing this kind of carpool ride matching manually can be really difficult and really time intensive. For our organization, we have folks that work 9 to 5s, but we also have we have sheriffs that work 12-hour shifts 3 days a week. We have people that work all kinds of off hours and different schedules. So having something that automatically allows people to plug their information in and get information back is a huge help compared to myself just manually looking up where do people live, where do people work, and sending out a million emails at a time. So huge plug to use this resource if you need it. Next slide, please. The next thing that we use the Commute.org services for is trip logging. So we ask our employees to log their trips, those carpool, bike, and walk trips in the STAR platform. This not only gives them access to all of the wonderful offerings that are available through Commute.org, those like achievements dashboards, the commuter challenges, the raffle drawings, which as somebody who's one of is a very exciting thing. But we also use this for our own programs. So on the next slide, one of the things, I can't actually show you the report that we pull, but those trip logs roll into a lot of really useful reports, one of which is this network statistics metric. You can actually break this down by sub-network. So this is for our all county, for folks who plug their trips in there, but we also have a sub-network of just our health employees. For example, you could have we could create another sub-network for just our sheriffs, for example, which would allow us to run promotions across those different networks and have them compete against each other. But we mostly pull that report down and we're able to say employee A, B, and C took 6 walking trips, 5 biking trips, and 3 telework trips this last month. And we pay out our own benefit using that information. So not only are we giving our employees access to all of the Commute.org offerings, but we're using those reporting and data sets to sort of push out our own offerings as well. That's a really nice thing for us. One, because we can then say, hey, if you sign up for our programs, you get this stuff from the county. But 2, we also get to point to the Commute.org rewards and say, look, here's all these other resources. Here's all these other challenges. Here's all this stuff that's built in that I, as the commute benefits coordinator, don't have to spend any time doing. I can run my own separate rewards programs, separate networks. I can work on separate things. And so much of the outreach and education and heavy lifting of running one of these types of programs successfully is done already for me for free, which is so nice. So that is, do I have one more slide?
That was it.
That was all the slides. Okay, so that was way faster than I meant it to be. I so apologize for that. But the short of it is that, yeah, Commute.org offers a bunch of really wonderful stuff. We utilize their services all the time. We push our employees to their services all the time. The ride matching, the trip logging, the reporting, the rewards. And I don't even feel like we really utilize them fully. There's still so much more that their services allow us to do or would allow us to do for free. The ability to run specified rewards programs across subnetworks and different employee groups. It's a lot of really powerful tools that are really easily accessible. So I just can't recommend utilizing their services enough if you're somebody involved in commute benefits planning or trying to create any mode shift in your organization. From one of those people to another, big plug. Go ahead and use them. They're fantastic. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Matt. That was really good free advertising for us. So leading into the next session, I know that a lot of you may already offer commute benefits to your employees, similar to what the county is doing, or some of you may be interested in starting. Some of you may also already participate in Commute.org's programs. So good news here is that for those of you who do either of those things, there is a way for you to formally get recognition for it by getting certified. So we'll talk in this next session about how you can get certified both on the regional level as well as the national level. So I'll be the first speaker to cover what you can do regionally, and then I'll turn it over to Vanessa Wheeler. She is a communications specialist specializing in TDM. So she works with the Center for Urban Transportation Research at the University of South Florida. So she has dedicated her past decade of her communications career to transportation topics. So she's very well versed in how to communicate really complex matters to a diverse audience ranging from government leaders to the general public. So she will be covering what you can do on the national side. But before we do that, I'll talk about our new program. So this is our employer recognition program. It's brand new. It hasn't been launched yet. So it will actually be launched July 1st. So we have a little bit more than a month away. But what this program is basically we are trying to recognize and reward employers who work with us in order to promote sustainable commuting. How it works is that we are making this a points-based system. So every time that you engage with Commute.org and promote our programs to your employees, you can get points for doing that. So you get points, all those points get accrued, and then it gets translated into 3 different recognition tiers. So you can be recognized as either bronze, silver, gold, like the Olympics. And once you do get those points, they last you throughout the rest of the year, and we will recognize each of these employers who got that tier status on an annual basis and provide a formal certification to you. Why should you get certified? So first off, it's a really great way to engage with us more. You can learn how to complement what you currently offer with our programs. And even if you don't currently offer anything, this is a great place to start because a lot of what we do is for free and it's available for you to promote to your employees. So we want to acknowledge that involvement with us. In addition, it's also a great way to boost company or employee morale as well as satisfaction, just by showing that you as the employer are supporting sustainable commute options and communicating with your employees about all the different benefits that are out there. And then lastly, you might want to get certified just to get recognized. It's a great thing to get recognized for active engagement with us. You can also be seen as a sustainable employer within the county. I know that a lot of companies now have sustainability goals that they're trying to hit. So this is one way that you can do that. And you can also get recognized as a great employer in the region. So if you are interested in getting certified, this is just the background of how it works. So Kim went over all the different services that we offer. And in the background, this is how we are assigning points. So you can see we have points ranging from 5, 10, 15 to 30. What basically means is each time you work with us, we're going to give you points. And the deeper the level engagement, the more points you earn. So just by attending the webinar today, you can already earn 10 points. It's under the TDM employer event category. So there's no reason for you not to get enrolled because you're already in our system. So with the more points that you earn each year, you will be placed within each of our 3 different recognition tiers. So the more points you get, the higher the tier you are. And if you are interested in getting certified, you can start off by enrolling. You as attendees will actually get to be the first participants in this program. We will be sending out a post-webinar survey where we will include a checkbox asking if you want to enroll in the program. So if you check that box off, we will contact you. Someone from our employer support team will email you, confirm your enrollment, and also let you know what your current recognition tier is. So from there, it's pretty simple. You can decide how you want to engage with us throughout the rest of the year, earn points until December 1st or December 31st. And then in January is when we will recognize that certification and mail out an official certificate to you. So what's next for the program? I mentioned that it's launching July 1st. Stay updated by subscribing to our employer e-news. We will announce the launch there, and we will also be updating our employer webpage with more details about how you can earn points as well as some of the requirements. And please share this information with other employers that you think may be interested in getting certified with us. If you do have any questions, you can reach out to me at the employer support at Commute.org. All right, so I will turn it over to Vanessa, who will talk about what you can do on the national level.
Well, hello, everybody. First of all, what fantastic information you guys have all been sharing so far. Some amazing resources for employees and employers in the region. So as Carmen mentioned, my name is Vanessa Wheeler, and I've actually spent much of my career on transportation demand management, particularly with mode shift, active transportation, and safety initiatives. And I'm also the program coordinator for Best Workplaces for Commuters, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So anyway, thank you so much to Commute.org for inviting us. So I'll give you a quick program overview, just kind of a then and now snapshot of Best Workplaces, affectionately known as BWC. So you'll probably hear me reference the program that way as well. So in short, BWC, or Best Workplaces for Commuters, is a recognition program. It was established in 2002 by the EPA and the U.S. Department of Transportation. And then in 2007, the Center for Urban Transportation Research at the University of South Florida, my employer, took over the management of that program. And ever since, we have been working with employers across the nation and most recently in Canada to grow membership and promote great benefits. So a quick program overview of BWC. So as I mentioned, this is a recognition program, and this has to do with a few different categories. First of all, we have Best Workplaces, which is for individual employers that are providing employee benefits to their employees. We also have Best Sites, which is a multi-employer category. So this would be like for commercial developments, multi-employer developments, etc. Our next category is Best Workplaces and Best Colleges. So that, of course, is those higher learning institutions that might be dealing with both its student and employee commuter populations. So we have a separate category for them. And then, of course, Best Partners. And I do want to, again, thank Commute.org, who is one of our partners. And those partners help us grow our program and make an impact on a national level. All right. So here's a quick snapshot of our program for 2024. I'm thrilled to say that 2024 was another record-breaking year. Thanks to partners like Commute.org. We have a very small team here at Cutter, but we work with partners and employers to do big things. And one way that we do this is to connect with employers that are providing excellent commuter benefits. And a lot of times we rely on partners like Commute.org that are the local service that provides all of these great resources, like those programs that Carmen and others have been talking about. So, it's kind of in a nutshell, if employers are thriving and they help their employees thrive, our program also thrives, and we're able to do more to support our members at that point. All right, this is just a quick poll. I'll let Carmen do the magic behind the scenes here, but if you take a moment and just let the audience know, what benefits are you currently providing your employees? And Carmen, I can't see the results, so I'm going to let you make the judgment call on when we should proceed. And I'd love it if you could report back to the audience too, if you're able, just kind of an idea of what we're seeing.
So we're getting a good split in the 20 percentile range for bike programs, transit subsidies, as well as guaranteed ride home. And then we have a little bit more than 10% for van pool as well as carpool.
Awesome. Very good. Fantastic. All right. So first of all, thank you all for participating in that survey. It's really nice to get a sense of what everybody's up to in the region, especially since you do have so many great opportunities to support your employee commute. So thank you for doing that. So where does BWC fit into all of that? So Carmen covered a lot of really great details about why internally you might want to have an employer commuter benefits provided program. So things like employee wellness, recognition locally, et cetera. But I'm going to talk about it on a little bit bigger scale. So if you're already providing commuter benefits, why not get that local and national recognition? So as I mentioned, BWC has members that they support from employers, sites, colleges, universities, and anybody who is providing robust commuter benefits to their commuter populations has an option of becoming a member, which includes some national recognition as well as some other opportunities for members to shine. We are best known for our list release, which is a big national press release that goes out every January, but we also do a lot more. So our BWC members receive support for their benefits programs. We provide education and networking opportunities, events throughout the year. We also provide one-on-one support. Maybe you want to take your program to that next level, you need a little advice, you want to connect with somebody else in your region or maybe in a different region but has a similar organizational structure to you, and you're just like, wow, I feel like we could take it to that next level. Then BWC can help our members maybe connect and network with other organizations. It's a learning opportunity. In any case, our staff is here to help, and if you're successful, we're successful. So I love to cheer on California. California employers continue to lead the country, with California being the second in the nation with the most best workplaces for commuters. So great job, all of you. I'm hoping we might have a few members on the call, and maybe by the end of this, I'd love to see a few more. So hoping for that, because you guys are getting recognition for your state, and you guys should be proud. So programs like Commute.org make it easier for employers to tap into local commuter resources. And in turn, BWC makes it easier to gain that recognition. So I do want to make sure that all of you know that you are in great company. So we have organizations large and small that join the BWC ranks. I just threw together a few of your local or mostly local organizations here. And then of course, we also have some nationally recognized organizations. I just thought it might be interesting to you to see just some of our members. All right, now you're probably wondering, okay, so great, there's recognition, there's a program, there must be a process for signing up to that. So first of all, to qualify for membership, you need to be providing one primary commuter benefit and 3 secondary or supporting commuter benefits. I like to qualify that and say that, if your organization is smaller, you have fewer than 20 employees, then you need to only provide one additional supporting benefit. You also need to ensure that your employees have access to an emergency ride home. I know that was covered in that last session. So Commute.org is a great resource for you if you do want to make sure that your employees have that confidence to take advantage of the commuter benefits that you provide. So, I definitely encourage you to do that. And then our next slide here, I thought this might be interesting to you if you wanted to know on a national level for 2024, what the primary benefits are that our members are providing. So telework is one of those benefits that actually continues to lead the charts. So it was true pre-pandemic. It is certainly true post-pandemic. And I want to make sure to qualify for you what a primary benefit is. So when you have a primary benefit, this is a comprehensive program that you're rolling out to your employees. You have policies in place, you're doing promotion. It's something that, you've put some significant effort into, and maybe you also have significant participation on the level of your employees. Next slide. All right, and then top supporting benefits. So as I mentioned, smaller organizations, fewer than 20 employees, only need to have one additional benefit. This particular chart shows you what our top supporting or secondary benefits were for 2024. And this is more like something that you just offer a piece of what could be a comprehensive program. And by the way, by no means does that mean you shouldn't have multiple comprehensive programs, but we do like to establish, kind of a point of entry, and then love to help you expand on that from there. So bicycle parking is another one of those that continues to be a leader on that secondary or supporting benefit list. So I keep mentioning list. So again, this is a national press release that we issue in January, and press releases can lead to great things. One of our biggest member perks, as I mentioned, is this national recognition. And we encourage our members and assist our members in promoting their status through social media and other marketing channels. We also provide templates and a marketing kit, exclusive branding, and other promotional assistance. You also, as you can see in this photo, our members receive a custom certificate. Many of them actually print that out, display it with pride. You don't have to do that, but many have chosen to. All right, so as I mentioned, we can help you promote your status as a BWC member. So on the left is actually our press release for 2024, something that goes out nationally. And then from there, we've helped encourage and then continued to promote those members who have taken it next level and actually promoted their status through social media. So if you do promote a status like this and you tag best workplaces for commuters, we continue to share that along and make sure that you get the most mileage out of that status. So be sure to tag us. These are just some examples from the 2024 list release, so you can see what some of our other members have done to take advantage of that. Okay, I mentioned other benefits. So besides that national recognition, continued support, and even that education and webinar support that I mentioned earlier, we do have some other benefits to members. First of all, every member receives one seat for the Commuter Choice Certificate Program. And if that's not something you're familiar with, it is a professional certificate program that provides the most comprehensive training for transportation professionals. So this helps you kind of take it to that next level, where you really do know what TDM, transportation demand management, like taking it to that deeper level of knowledge. We also produce a number of guides. The one that's featured here is our commuter benefits guide. It's the one that's most utilized by our employer members in particular, because it is a user-friendly overview of how to take advantage of the transportation tax benefits currently available in our tax code. So it's just a nice reference guide that helps you get jump-starting into what kinds of benefits you can offer, as well as how to roll out a program and take advantage of the tax perks that are built into our system. We also have a member portal, which is an online tool where you can access resources, download your member certificate, and then, of course, correspond with other members, get insight about other programs, and learn from there. Okay, as I mentioned, we host a number of great webinars, other networking opportunities, and events throughout the year. So if you want to take a moment, scan that QR or note that URL, we do have a number of programs, including some recordings of past webinars. So you can see what we have done and what great resources we have been able to provide. Also, if you're doing something innovative in your program, we love to take the opportunity to feature our members in webinars so that you can share that information with others and get some recognition for the great things that you're doing. So it's always something that we're looking for opportunities to partner with members to promote interesting ways of doing things. Our list release is in January 2025. Again, that's our biggest event of the year. And if anybody's attending the ACT conference this year, I will encourage you all to stop by and say hello. We'll be there as well. Our application window for the 2025 list in January opens on June 3. So just a little over, oh my gosh, 2 weeks. We're coming up on it. So June 3 through November 30 is our application window to get on the 2025 list. So you have some time to think about it. Our application is online and very accessible. It's just a few pages. You just let us know what benefits you're providing to your employees, give us some additional information. We'll review applications and then start hopefully getting you on that 2025 list. And again, our partners are amazing. In this case, Commute.org is your on-the-ground, in-the-know resource for commuter benefits, as well as the Best Workplaces program. So connect with Carmen and her team. They can help you take advantage of those local options, as well as becoming a BWC member. Carmen, since you're here online with me now, is there something you would like to add to that?
Yeah, so like Vanessa said, please reach out to us if you do want any guidance on what type of employee commute program or commute benefits you can provide. In addition to that, some of the free programs that we mentioned, such as the Guaranteed Ride Home program, as well as ride matching through our STAR platform, will help you partially qualify for membership under the Best Workplaces for Commuters. So reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you, Carmen. And so I know we're on kind of a tight schedule, wanted to keep it short and sweet. So hopefully this was at least a taste of some of the things that we have to offer for the Best Workplaces for Commuters program. But do let us know, reach out if we can support you, if you have questions. My colleague, Christine Epps, her contact information is there on the screen, and she coordinates our membership and helps process those applications. She's an amazing resource. I encourage you to reach out to Christine or to Carmen. Again, thank you so much for inviting us today. My name is Vanessa, and I'm really excited to share this program with you all. So I hope to see you as members. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Vanessa, for that really great presentation. And also a huge thank you to all the presenters from the previous sessions as well. We're actually a little bit ahead on schedule, so we do have a 2-minute time window. So I just wanted to remind all the attendees to submit any questions that you have via Q&A. Kim, do we have any questions that have come in so far?
Yes, we have a question about how the Commute.org program and BWC, how does the Commute.org program specifically help someone be BWC qualified or Best Workplace for Commuter qualified? So you mentioned ride sharing and the GRH program. Does that automatically help them become qualified? So I think having a correlation to our kind of levels and and where that places them with the best workplace for commuters will be helpful for our participants.
Mhm. Yeah, so Vanessa, I can't remember the 3 different benefit tiers and which one we would fall under. So guaranteed ride home would be towards the end just because you can access that through Commute.org. Ride matching, I'm not sure where that falls, but I know that one of the benefits that can qualify you is first last mile connections to transit. So we'll talk about this later. John Ford will present on our shuttle program, but that is also one way that you can show that you have that benefit and qualify for membership.
And I think we should mention that we're happy to follow up with anybody to lay it out and make it really clear what the Commute.org programs, which ones help them become qualified for the best workplace for commuters. So,
yeah, great idea. Okay, so we're back on schedule. So I will go into the next session. So here we're going to discuss how to access really valuable assistance programs to employees who are income eligible. So this is a great way for them to get further support for their commuting needs. So our first speaker is Sean Charpentier. He is an executive director at CCAG, which is our county's congestion management agency. He has over 20 years of experience in local government focused on serving public and building equitable, prosperous, and sustainable regions and cities. And next we have Emma Schlaze. She is our TDM program manager at Commute.org. She has been with us since 2021, but before that she was with the Silicon Valley Bike Coalition for 8 years, where she worked on policy as well as programs to create bike-friendly cities in San Mateo as well as Santa Clara counties. So I'll hand it over to Sean to start.
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me. I did want to start by appreciating all the good work that Commute.org does. We do a lot of work throughout the region, and I just want to note that we are very fortunate to have a countywide TDM organization and appreciate this opportunity to talk a little bit about the San Mateo County Express Lanes Community Transportation Benefits Program, or our equity program as we used to call it. Next slide, please. We'll talk a little bit about the project background of the Express Lanes, what the Community Transportation Benefits Program is, and then how we are planning to improve it in the future. Next slide. Next slide. Our Express Lanes are a partnership with Caltrain, the San Mateo County Transportation Authority, and CCAG, and governed by a separate JPA. And Express lanes are one of our tools to reduce traffic congestion and encourage carpooling and transit use. They extend 22 miles from the Santa Clara County line to I-380 in South San Francisco near the airport, and they connect to VTA express lanes in Santa Clara County. Next slide. The hours of operation are 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. And express lanes work to manage demand and encourage buses and carpools and shuttles through the use of pricing, as well as through discounts. And the way we accomplish that is that buses, vans, motorcycles, and HOVs with 3 or more occupants travel for free. HOV 2, which is an HOV with 2 people in it, gets a 50% discount. And if it's just 1 person in the car, they pay the full toll that would be levied. We use dynamic tolling, which is based on the congestion that is in effect at that time. So conceptually, the more congestion, the higher the toll. The greater the incentive for time reliability to use the express lanes. And studies have shown that they provide about a potential 30% reduction in travel time. Our toll prices are expressed on toll signs above the express lanes. And as I mentioned, they are dynamic, so they do adjust with the congestion that is in the lane at that time. Next slide. Some of the benefits are to reduce congestion, to improve travel times and reliability, to increase the number of people moved, in particular, what we call is VMT per capita, to use technology and design to help manage traffic, to encourage carpooling and transit use, and to make upgrades and fund upgrades to the the roadway, the highway, and associated projects. In some ways, I like John Ford's slide that showed a bunch of cars with an arrow and then buses. I wish I had seen that. I would have probably have just used that one because fundamentally that is the goal of express lanes. It's to really encourage behavior shift so there are more HOVs, more carpools, more buses, and more shuttles. Next slide, please. As an illustration, there are three kinds of fast track tags. One is the standard tag with no toggle at all. The other one is a clean air vehicle tag or a CAV tag. And then there's the fast track flex. And basically how it works is if you have a fast track flex or a fast track standard, you pay the full price of the toll. If you have a fast track flex, I'm sorry, with one person, you pay the full price of the toll. If you have a fast track flex with two people, you pay 50%, and at 3, it is free. For the clean air vehicles, which is a special decal administered by the DMV, for one person, you would get a 50% discount. Two people, you would get a 50% discount, and then if there are 3 people, they would travel for free. Buses and shuttles are not levied tolls. Next slide, please. One of the key considerations in the design and implementation of the express lanes was to make sure that there was an equity program. In San Mateo County, the political leaders ensured that equity in the express lanes would move forward hand in hand, and that led to the creation of the Community Transportation Benefits Program. And it consists of providing to eligible recipients a preloaded Clipper card with an annual $100 credit or a preloaded fast track toll transponder with a one-time 100% credit. And it was really important to our elected leaders that this was in place before tolling began. Next slide, please. In terms of eligibility, one needs to live in San Mateo County, be 18 years or older, have an individual income at or below 60% of the county AMI, which is average median income, which was approximately $78,000 for a household of 1 in 2023, or be eligible to receive at least one service provided through a core service agencies network. Next slide, please. The distribution is handled by Samaritan House, which is one of the major core agency service providers in San Mateo County. And they are our primary point of contact, and they distribute the benefits and the training and the framework to the other core agencies, which are listed here. And they provide those benefits through their case management program that are available at multiple sites throughout the county. Next slide, please. I'm not going to go through these, but this is hopefully that this will be available. And I wanted folks to have both the URL where they could find more information, but also the specific locations where they could direct people if they are interested to pick up one of these benefits. And these are both the Samaritan House and the other associated core agencies in the county. Next slide, please. So how to enroll? To go to your local core service agency, which was provided on the prior slide. Tell the case manager you want to enroll in the Community Transportation Benefits Program. They'll ask you a few questions to verify eligibility. And if new to the core agencies, they ask that you provide some income verification documents. You could choose between the Clipper card and fast track toll transponder benefit. And Oh, sorry, don't know what happened. Mic check. If they should have those resources there, and the applicant can leave with one of the selected benefits. To date, we've provided just under 5,000 of these benefits throughout the county, with about 84% of the recipients choosing the Clipper card instead of the fast track transponder. It is available countywide, and we do have locations on the coast as well. Next slide. So as I mentioned, there's a Clipper card with a $100 benefit. It's an annual benefit. Folks select these if They're more transit dependent. And then there's a fast track toll transponder, which has 105, which includes the refundable tag discount. Next slide, please. So last year, we conducted an evaluation of the program, and a couple of the key takeaways were, one, the amount needed to be improved, expanded in terms of the benefit, and two, while the in-person registration did serve a purpose and helped us to roll it out quickly, we needed to look at more flexible ways to reach more eligible applicants. So we are working on what we're referring to as the next generation of the Transportation Benefits Program. And that consists of 3 changes. One, we would increase the amount of the benefit from $100 to $200. Through our evaluation with the Clipper cards, we found that they were often fully expended within 3 months of receiving them. So we wanted to make sure, to us, that was a sign of high demand and high use. So we wanted to double the amount. We are proposing to switch from either from the Clipper card or Fast Track to a mobility debit card. And this would allow individuals to have the flexibility to have a debit card that would have identified vendors such as Fast Track, Clipper, Samtrans, transit operators, Bay Wheels, and then they could choose to use the funding as best fit their needs at that time. That would provide them with more flexibility and ease of transfer and use. We're proposing to do sort of an annual of the mobility card debit, the mobility card recipient. So that would do away with the one-time benefit for the Fast Track if they chose to use it on Fast Track. And then one of our biggest changes is we're looking at implementing an online enrollment process. And that would eliminate the need to show up in person unless someone were going there to one of the core agencies for the variety of other excellent services they provide. And that would allow also other nonprofits, other transportation coordinators, people who work in TDM to walk their potential people they serve, employees, through the online enrollment process. And hopefully we'd be able to reach a much higher number of potential applicants. We are planning to roll out the new system early next calendar year. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation. My contact information and the URL to the program are available on the slides. And if there are questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Schlaze, and I'm a TDM program manager here at Commute.org. So now I want to talk about other programs that could be available to your employees if they are income qualified. And all of this information is on our website at commute.org/resources/assistance programs. Next slide. So first up is the Caltrain Pass Forward program. This is an active annual collaboration that we have with Caltrain to offer a free Caltrain Go Pass to eligible applicants. So this allows the user to use Caltrain all year round to and from any station on the Caltrain line. And to qualify, a person must make less than $70,000 a year, live or work in San Mateo County, use the card to get to work, job training, or for a job search, and use the pass at least twice a week. So to apply, there are 2 forms. They're also available on our website at the same link I just shared. There's also flyers in multiple languages, and the flyers look like this, and there's links and QR codes to the forms. This year we have about 300 passes to distribute, and at this point we've already given out more than 90% of them. So if you know of someone or any of your staff that may be eligible, please urge them to apply as soon as possible. And once we've distributed all our passes, then we will set up a wait list. And in the past, we've been doing this program for the past few years. So assuming it gets renewed again for the next year, the people on the wait list will also get a notification about the new application in January. And People who have gotten in the past can also usually renew for the following calendar year. Next slide. Now I want to talk about the Clipper Start program. So this is not one of our programs at Commute.org, but it's directly through Clipper. And it's a program in which an individual can get 50% off all Bay Area transit. They must, to be eligible, they must live in the San Francisco Bay Area, be 19 to 64 years old, have a household income of 200% of the federal poverty level or less, which is about $30,000 a year for a household of one. And they must also not qualify for the RTC Clipper card. And that's a specific card for people with disabilities. And there's also more information on that card if you're interested. But to access all the information on the Clipper Start program, you can go to clipperstartcard.com, which is a really great program. Next. And then I will discuss e-bike rebates. So these are both will be available for people in our area, and hopefully both will be opening in June for applications. So Peninsula Clean Energy, which is an energy company organization here in San Mateo County, they have an annual e-bike rebate program. It is a discount of up to $1,000 purchase or lease price of a new e-bike. All San Mateo County residents who make 400% of the federal poverty level or less are eligible, and that's about $60,000 a year for a household of one. And there's a limit of one per household. Now, there's also the California e-bike rebate. This will be opening soon statewide. It's for California residents 18 years and older with an income of 300% of federal poverty level or less, which is about $45,000 a year for a household of one. There will be multiple application rounds. So if someone misses the first round, there'll be multiple throughout the next year, I'm guessing. And the voucher amount will likely be $1,750 with an additional $250 additional for people below a certain income level. So you have to make a certain income, less than a certain income to qualify. And then if you make even less than that, there'll be additional money available. The incentives are limited to one per person, but there's no limit per household. So that the reason I'm like a little vague about some of those details is they haven't all been set, but this is through the California Air Resources Board. They do have a website now. It's ebikeincentives.org. So you can go there to find out a little bit more info, and hopefully soon that application will be released for the Peninsula Clean Energy Program. This is maybe the third or fourth year that they're doing this, and they have a website as well. I don't think it's been updated yet for the upcoming round, but they should be opening in a couple weeks. And one person could qualify for both of these. So they just have to make sure they're eligible for both, but they could stack the programs. Next slide. That's all I have to share. But again, all of this information and information on the 101 Express Lane community benefit that Sean shared is all on our website at the link that's here. And you can also email me with any questions at any time, Emma@commute.org. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Emma. So we actually do have time to take a question. So if you have a question for either Sean or Emma, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A. Kim, do we have anything coming in?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay.
However, we did post on the conversation direct access to both the links on the Commute.org website, as well as the 101 Express Lanes community benefit link. So there's direct access there for our attendees.
Perfect. Thanks for providing that. Before we jump into the next session, I actually do have a question regarding the community benefits program for 101 Express Lanes. So this question is for Sean. I know that some households may be interested in getting more than one benefit. So if you do have two people that qualify within the same household, are they able to get that benefit?
It is by individual.
Okay.
So I think the fast track one would be by household, but it is by individual.
Perfect. So there's a bunch of different programs that are out there for people who are income eligible. So we really do encourage you to share this information with your employees. All right, so before we jump into our next session, we have our final poll. So this is a pretty easy question, and it's just to ask, which of the following transit options do your employees use? We know that there are a variety of modes in the Bay Area, so we're just kind of gauge what you think your employees use. So I'll pause here for a few seconds while people answer. Okay. So as they're coming in, it looks like majority are taking regional options such as Caltrain as well as BART. That's not a surprise just because we know that a lot of people do commute in San Mateo County from other counties as well as within San Mateo itself. Okay, and then a good number of you also take Commute.org, which is great. So that leads us into our last session. So in this final session, we're going to provide you with the latest updates with some regional transportation advancements. So specifically, we're going to be talking about Caltrain as well as our Commute.org shuttle program. So this is really good information for you all to keep in mind because all these updates may positively impact your employees' commute. So to start off, our first speaker is Brent Tejan. He is the External Affairs Manager for Caltrain Electrification. So he has been with the San Mateo County Transit District since 2013. He is working on the electrification project, and he's been working on that since the groundbreaking in 2017. So he is responsible for overseeing the project's communication, community outreach, as well as events. And then our second speaker is John Ford, who you've already heard from and introduced. All right, so I'll hand it over to Brent.
Thanks, Carmen. Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see so many people interested in different commuting options. And one of them is Caltrain, which we're very excited for a transformational year for us here with the electrification project. Next slide, please. So a quick overview of Caltrain. If you're not familiar, we run from San Francisco down to San Jose. We do have a weekday commute service as well down to Gilroy with about 5 or 6 stops south of San Jose. So we have 77 miles of track that we run, 31 stations. We are a bi-directional commute still, so we still have a lot of people going both north and south during the commute and non-commute hours. We have 41 at-grade crossings. That's where the cars and the railroad meet. And pre-pandemic, we were the 7th largest commuter rail in the country. We had a large fare box recovery, which is how much actually our operations came from for fares, which was 70%. We had over 18 million unlinked passenger trips in 2019, and we frequently had overcrowded trains with standing room only. A lot of that has changed, obviously, since the pandemic, but we are seeing ridership tick up over the last year in particular, and are really seeing a lot of that non-commute ridership in terms of events come through as well for Giants or other events. Next slide, please. So for the electrification project, as I mentioned, we are in a transformational year for Caltrain. We are currently running diesel trains, but have beautiful new modern electric trains that'll be in service this fall. Those trains will run on the same route from San Francisco down to San Jose. That project started in 2016-17 in terms of actual construction, but it's been a more than 20-year vision for the agency. And we are very excited that all electric service between San Francisco and San Jose will be here in September of this year. Next slide, please. Just a quick overview of all the key milestones for the project. A lot of work has been going on along the corridor over the past 6 years. We've installed thousands of foundations, also thousands of poles, traction power facilities, which provide and regulate the power to the overall system. Over 2.5 million feet of wire. So if you've been along the corridor or at a station recently, you have seen and can see these poles and wires installed. If you're also at the station late at night between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., you can see these trains being tested each night as well. and they are being tested during the day on the weekend. So we are in the home stretch of this project. Our full corridor is energized, and is looking forward to passenger service this September. Next slide, please. A huge benefit to this project, outside of the sustainability benefits, is the additional service we're going to be able to provide. Even though we're running the same amount of trains per day, we're able to provide more service overall to the stations. So we'll have much simpler stopping patterns as well. Today we have 6 or 7 stopping patterns for your train, so it's can make it a bit confusing to make sure you're on the right train, but we'll have a much simplified stopping pattern for the fall with 3 main types of trains. So we'll have an Express A, which makes 11 stops from San Francisco to San Jose. And that'll be under an hour, so very competitive to driving. And then we'll have a local, which makes all the stops from San Francisco to San Jose. That trip currently makes that trip currently takes about 100 minutes. With these new electric trains, we're able to shave off about 25 minutes. So it's going to be very competitive to driving as well. So 75 minutes for that local train making all stops. And then we'll have a mix of these services with an Express B or a limited service, which will provide, I believe, 16 service to 16 stations and make that trip in 67 minutes. Next slide, please. And then very exciting to mention that on the weekdays, and this is also relevant to weekend as well, that there'll be half-hourly service at a minimum. So during those off-peak hours, in the evenings, midday, and early mornings, there'll be half-hourly service, which today is mostly hourly, and then on the weekends as well. So those that are going to work on the weekends, or if you're going to an event, will have half-hourly service. So a lot more service on those times. And that will be all local service, which you can still get those times for. This is an overview of the overall benefits for the project. So again, that express train from San Francisco to San Jose in under an hour, which is going to be a huge benefit. A quicker local service, so that train that makes all the stops is 75 minutes versus 100. If you have folks that are traveling from southern Santa Clara County, so from Tamian to Gilroy, we won't be running electric trains in that area, but there will be a timed transfer at San Jose Station. So folks will still get to see the benefits of those new electric trains, even if they're coming from that Gilroy section of the service. And again, even though we're providing the same amount of trains, 104 per day, we're able to provide 20% more service because the trains are able to stop and pick up more people during those stations. We're really proud that 26% more service will be seen at equity priority stations. Those are either minority or low income identified areas along the corridor. And again, that half-hourly service on the weekends and off-peak. If you haven't been on one of our new trains yet, we've had a couple tours and thousands of people have showed up to them. Very exciting time for us to show these off. But they will have free Wi-Fi on board, which is great for those commuting to work. They can get started to check their email or just generally be online and connected. It's a much smoother and quieter experience overall. Outlets at every seat so people can plug in and stay connected as well. Digital trip information, so making sure again that you're able to get on to the on board and know where you're going. And then again, the clean and green benefits for the project. Next slide, please. We have service benefits. We have fact sheets for each city here. So you can go to caltrain.com/service benefits to see the exact travel times for your city. Next slide, please. And just an overview of some of the other things we're doing beyond electrification. We have an equity growth and recovery policy to make sure we're doing the best we can to ensure we're getting ridership come back to us. A revised schedule, so again, that most service ever for Caltrain. Lots of regional coordination, which you've heard before on this call. Pass Forward program, and some fare promotions as well. Next slide, please. Last thing I'll end with is, if you're not already a member, we do have a great program for all employees, which is a GoPass. It's $275 per user per year. That allows any of your employees to have unlimited Caltrain rides anytime, anywhere along the Caltrain line. It's a very socially responsible employee benefit that I encourage you to look into. And if you're interested, you can email b2b@caltrain.com. And I think that's all I had, but I will be happy to stick around for any questions after that. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Brent. So next we have John Ford, our Executive Director, to talk about our shuttle program.
Thanks, Carmen. Brent, I'm so excited for those Caltrains, the electrification. It's going to be fantastic. So it's a really good segue into the shuttle program that we have to talk about next. Hopefully you guys have seen and recognized the shuttles that you see in the picture here. We operate them throughout the county. We have 20 different, what we consider a micro transit routes under our management. They're all what we consider a first last mile, which means that they're designed to really just connect to BART and to Caltrain and to the ferry and take those passengers coming off of that transit and get them out to the work sites. But it's also reverse as well. So we take people from residential locations in the cities throughout the county and get them to those transit stations as well. With as much transit-oriented development has been happening around the stations throughout the county, we also find a number of people who are living there, living near stations, but commuting using our shuttles as well. We run public-private funding for all of our shuttles. So we receive funding from a variety of different sources, but about 40% of it comes from private sector contributions, and the Transportation Authority provides approximately 60%. Next slide. A little bit more about it. So Commute.org manages the commuter shuttle program throughout San Mateo County. The TA provides the majority of the grant funding, and then we generate what's called the matching funds from a combination of employers, developers, property managers, other transit agencies, and some cities. It's a combination of that funding that we use to provide the overall operating expenses, or to cover the operating expenses of the shuttles. We only operate during peak commute hours. We don't run community shuttles. There are community shuttles that are part of this program, but those are not considered Commute.org shuttles. Lots of different reasons for people to participate, employers or property managers. Obviously, it's an employee benefit to get that first last mile service. It is a shared service, so it doesn't just serve your property. It serves a combination of properties throughout the service area. It's also a community benefit. So a lot of times a development will go in and they're required by a city to provide certain community benefits, and providing that first last mile shuttle service both to residents and employees can help qualify for that. The other thing is for compliance. There are, again, certain cities in the county who requires, as a condition of development, for a developer to provide this service, both for residential properties as well as for commercial properties. So for all those different reasons, none of which are necessarily sustainability, but for their employee retention and for the community benefits, it's a great program for people to be able to participate in. Next slide. This is just a quick listing of where we have. This is actually from our website, so if you want to dig into it a little bit deeper, you can go there and see all where all the routes are. The color coding, the blue and is for the BART, the red is for the Caltrain, and the green is for the ferry. We hope at some point in the future, if ferry service makes its way out to Redwood City, that we'll also be providing first last mile service from a ferry terminal in Redwood City out to the work locations as well. Next slide, please. This is just a quick example of what one of our route maps looks like. Again, they're typically circular. They are, again, designed to be first last mile. This particular one serves the Bayside region of Burlingame, but it also serves some area within Millbrae as well. You'll see that it starts and stops at the Millbrae Caltrain station, which for those routes that do use that station, we serve both BART and Caltrain passengers. Next slide. Well, that was a fancy transition. I like that one. This just shows the inside of one of our shuttles and some of the happy passengers that are on board. Just a quick aside, this photo was actually taken at one of our in-person employer webinars or seminars before we went to the webinar format. We actually use our shuttles every once in a while to transport people for that. Next slide. All right. There's a lot to learn about the shuttle program and how you might be able to participate in it, including sample agreements, some costing information, what the process is to go and apply for this. It's all on our shuttle program page. You'll see there's a tab down there called Joining the Program and how that works. And I encourage you to go there and take a look at it. Have to be honest, not every employer that wants a shuttle is going to be able to get a shuttle in the program. It does require a lot of, because it's publicly funded, we don't compete with Samtrans routes. We also require it to be a consortium where we find multiple properties and locations to be able to serve efficiently and effectively. We do have a lot of shuttle routes that have opportunities for additional growth. So if you're on an existing route and you want to join the program and you want to have a stop at or near your very near your office location, please contact us. Our shuttle team would be happy to work with you to see what we can do to either look for a route to apply for in the future, or perhaps get you into one of the routes that currently exists. Next slide. All right, so stay tuned. With all of Brent's great news about all the Caltrain electrification, one thing that does bring about is that we will have a lot of schedule changes for those shuttles that serve primarily Caltrain. And so look forward to that in the September timeframe. We do have a new call for projects, which is when we apply for the grant funding. That call will be in January for service that will start next July. We're also in the middle of a shuttle contract RFP, so we will likely have new shuttles to match up with the brand new Caltrain and BART cars as well. So look forward to that. If you'd like more information for any of our programs, but including the shuttle program, we encourage you to sign up and for any of our newsletters on the website. You'll find the ability to sign up for those newsletters there. Next slide. Thanks, Carmen.
All right, thanks both to Brent and John. So I'll open it up to Q&A. That was our last session. So we'll start off by going over any questions you may have for this last session as it relates to Caltrain electrification as well as our shuttle program. Kim, is there anything coming in?
Well, John, you did speak about how one could request a shuttle in their area or to their work site, but would you just recap if someone wants to request a shuttle or even investigate, is there a shuttle near them? What were those tips?
Yeah, probably the best thing to do is go over to our website, go to the shuttle page and take a look at it there. We have an FAQ for the shuttle program in terms of how you might join. But go on there as well and just drop us a note. We're happy to guide you through the process. Our shuttle team will be very responsive to get back to you.
We had another shuttle request, just also identifying, is there shuttle service in, say, the Oyster Point Boulevard, at the end of Oyster Point Boulevard, servicing Caltrain. So I was able to drop that direct link to that route because we do have that. But it's just a reminder, on the Q&A, I did put in a list or a link to the list of all of our routes, so you can quickly search by the city that you're in. But if it's not clear to you, shuttles@commute.org will be an easy way for us to respond to your questions.
Great, thanks, Kim. If we don't have any other questions for this last session, I did have one for Brent. I know that we're all very excited for Caltrain electrification, so I know that some people might be curious as to know whether or not this electrification will result in increased fares.
Yeah, thanks for that, Carmen. There are no plans for current fares increase, either tied to the project or not. We're really looking to make sure we get our ridership back. Like I mentioned, we're the 7th largest pre-pandemic. And so we are really making sure we have fare promotions right now. A lot of great deals for youth ridership, $1 fare for any youth, any trip. If they have a youth Clipper card, there's a lot of group passes as well. You can go to caltrain.com/promos to see what we have going on there. Thanks.
Thanks, Brent. Okay, so Kim, do we have any other questions regarding the other sessions? We can do the larger Q&A session now.
Great. Well, we did have another shuttle comment just about any chance there's going to be electric vehicles or shuttles in the future. And John, you want to verbalize? I saw you responded. Go ahead.
But yeah, I did. Great
Yeah.
question, and we would love to go electric. I don't think this RFP that's in process right now is going to result in that, but I believe by 2030 the shuttles will be electrified. But it's likely that this time frame between 2025 and 2030 they will not be electric.
Thank you. Some other questions that we had also were just going back to the original, the first presentation was just how does an employer find out if they're compliant with the Bay Area Commuter Benefit Program ordinance? Looks like they're just needing a reminder. And good, great, Corey, you're still there.
Still here. No, that's
just
a good
a refresher.
Yeah. No, there's actually a couple ways. By calling one of our employer services representatives at the numbers I listed previously or listed on the 501.org website, you can immediately contact and they can tell you if you're registered or not. There's also another option. We do have a hosted updated list of all the registered employers. That's at 501.org. You go to the Bay Area Commuter Benefits page and it's under Program Options. So right there, you can see if you're registered or not. And the other thing to take into account too is you might not see your employer name on there, and that might be because your employer is not required to be registered. So once again, it's for employers 50 or more employees in the Bay Area within the Air District's jurisdiction.
And I've also encountered personally with working with some employers is that they might be nested under a larger company. So there might be a larger company that's really responsible for I guess different departments that operate as separate businesses. So I guess I'm not phrasing it right, but sometimes they might be compliant, but they're under their main company's listing versus their own company.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty common.
Yeah.
I want to augment on that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So per Kim's point, the parent company may have handled it, but also if you have different arms in the company, if you don't all fall under the same tax ID number, then you need to register as individual companies.
Great.
So even if there is a parent company, if you have different tax ID numbers, they have to be registered differently.
Great, thank you.
Oh, and actually, while we do have Corey and Tracy on screen right now, I know that some employers might be curious as to what would qualify as an alternative commute option. So if you could provide some examples that employers can provide in order to qualify.
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So option 4 is really option 4, A, B, and C. A, B, and C. A and B, we have a list of potential options you can use. It's a cafeteria style menu thing where you could say, hey, I want 2 primary measures and 3 secondary measures. I want to use 4 secondary measures, and that can have you as compliant. We do have a list in our documentation, once again, on the 501 website, the employer guide, and it lays out a bunch of primary, secondary measures, and you can kind of pick and choose which ones to become compliant. So primary measures can range from a bicycle subsidy, a carpool subsidy. It could also, you can also use like a limited telework schedule, a compressed work week. And then some of the secondary measures is like preferred parking for carpools, providing an employer-specific carpool match service. Parking cash out is also a primary measure, but that's also mandated as well. So secondary measures can range from a lot of biking options as well. So any of those can be utilized. You just have to pick a couple from each. And then the option 4C is pretty much create your own benefit. And if you're using something unique that we don't mention in the program, this could be, I don't know, an electric scooter. This could be whatever you have going on. If it's, somewhat helpful as much as options 1, 2, 3, you say, hey, I got this unique benefit. I think it works for us. You submit it to us. We send it over to the Air District, and they'll either let you know, hey, maybe add one more option or one more thing, or they'll approve it. So there's a couple ways you can comply under option 4.
Thanks, Corey. It's great to have some flexibility built in for employers.
Yeah.
Well, we are still on the first session. Kim, do we have any other questions for either Corey or Karen?
Not at this time, but obviously I see, I'm sure our attendees are seeing there's a lot of connections between being compliant in this program, participating in Commute.org's new recognition program, and also best workplace for commuters. So it's a trifecta, right? Trifecta, where you can, if you're doing these programs, you can you can get national acknowledgement, local acknowledgement, and be compliant. So there's a lot of crossover here. And in one of our questions that was about how does the Commute.org program help be compliant or be eligible for the best workplace for commuters, I did do just a quick little look just to see that under the best workplace for commuters, the primary option to be qualified for that, you do need to have a direct benefit that you're giving to your employees on a monthly basis. But the secondary, as well as the support programs that they require, Commute.org has you covered there with GRH, ride matching, potentially shuttle service if it's in your area. So, but all of this, all these three things really help you have a robust commuter program. And there's a good connection here.
Great. Thanks for that, Kim. Still on the first session, so I actually did have a question for Karen. Hopefully you're still on. So you gave, oh, perfect. All right. So you talked about some best practices in surveying. So just wanted to know if you have any recommendations of when's the best time to survey employees.
We typically like to do our surveys in the fall. We find that we try to avoid any sort of major holidays where people are going to be out of the office. We kind of picked fall because people are coming back from maybe summer vacations, kids are back at school, so parents are starting to be into their regular work routine at that point. So yeah, I think the fall is the best for us, but honestly, employers are all going to know kind of what their what their employees are doing. Some employers have their own surveys that they're doing for various reasons. So obviously it's got to kind of fit around that. But I think for us, we look at the fall.
Thank you for that advice.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kim, do we have any other questions for the other sessions?
Well, one thing when I was talking about having a STAR network, just wanted to emphasize how easy it is to participate in the STAR network and having it. And thanks to Matt for being my commercial. But if an employer organization, a property manager or an individual employer would like their own network, it's as simple as just emailing us at support, email employersupport@commute.org. And we just need your name, where your business is, how many employees are there, and we take it from there with you. So you could start pushing out that URL very quickly to your employees. So easy setup for that. It's just a matter of, do you want to go deeper like Matt has? And I don't mind. I hope Matt doesn't mind if I put him on the spot and ask a question to him. But since you joined STAR and started to use it for your programs, do you feel like you have had more participation in your commuter programs? Or is it mainly administration has been just a lot easier for you to operate your program? Because I do believe you've had something for many years, and this just came in as a great, easier way to operate it, is what I understand.
Yeah, a little hard for me to attribute growth in our program specifically to the use of Commute.org, just because our program has been sort of continually rebounding since the pandemic. So our program has been growing. I can't specifically say it was Commute.org that made it happen. I can definitely say that administratively it's smoothed a lot of wrinkles out and made things a lot easier. So I can absolutely say that for sure.
Great.
If I could just jump in real quickly. So you guys are warriors. This entire, everybody who's stuck around with us for the entire session, I really appreciate it. It's, we have what, bronze, silver, and gold level for your employers when you sign up for our program. But everybody today earned a TDM Warrior badge. So we don't have those, but maybe the $5 coffee cards that you've also earned will help you as well. So, all right, with that, I'll turn it back to Carmen.
All right. Thank you, John. if we don't have any other questions, we can wrap up the webinar unless anything else comes up. Pause here for a few moments. You can also feel free to raise your hand if you want. We can unmute you and you can ask a question via audio.
We're looking quiet in the Q&A, so we must have done a good job answering everyone's questions.
Okay. Well, with that, I do want to thank all our speakers for all of your very insightful presentations. We hope that all of our attendees have found each of these sessions informative as well as valuable. The reason we called this webinar Listen, Learn, Act is that we're hoping that you'll do exactly that. We hope you've listened to the sessions, learned something, and will act by taking it back to your employees. So if you do have any other remaining questions that pop up after the webinar, please feel free to reach out to that email address I have on the screen. Post-webinar, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will be sharing slides as well as this recording. Expect an email from us, including that. And John did mention the $5 gift card, which I forgot to touch on in the beginning. So all attendees do get a $5 gift card as a thank you for joining and just learning from us. You should expect an email from our gift card vendor, Tango. So if it doesn't come from Commute.org, look out for something from Tango. So we'll send that out post-webinar too. And lastly, we will have a survey to get some feedback from you all about the sessions. We are planning to make this an annual event. So if you do have any ideas about future topics that you want to hear about, let us know and we'll make sure to incorporate that into our future events. And also stay tuned. We have our employer e-news. Please subscribe. We'll let you know all the information there. All right. Thank you all. Hope you all have a great rest of your weekend and Memorial Day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.